Hello, Libra soul. Yes, you. Stop scrolling. Because something massive is aligning for you right now, and this is not just another horoscope. This is a divine checkpoint. Welcome to Zodiac Whisper Tarot, where cosmic energy speaks through the cards, through the stars, and today through the message that brought you right here. Let me be clear in the first few seconds. Big money is falling into your life. But it's not just about money. It's about restoration of your balance, your beauty, and your quiet knowing that you were always meant for more. You didn't stumble upon this video by coincidence. You were led here by your soul, by your ancestors, or maybe even by the silent whisper of the universe itself. Something in your energy field is vibrating at a higher frequency, and today, June 12th, that vibration is reaching its peak. This isn't a forecast. It's a spiritual recall. 12 is not just a number. It's a portal. It represents divine order, 12 signs in the zodiac, 12 months in the year, 12 hours of light and darkness. It is where creativity, 3, and structure, 4, combine to create manifestation. And Libra, you are the bridge. The harmonizer. The soul that dances between reason and beauty, between truth and love. Today, the stars aren't just watching you, they're conspiring for you. They are arranging conversations, opening doors, delivering unexpected messages. So if your body has felt different lately, tingles in your hands, dreams that echo, numbers like 222 or 1111 following you everywhere, you're not imagining it. Your higher self is tuning in. And before we dive deeper into what the tarot and your chart are revealing today, let me pause and say this from my heart. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for trusting this space with your energy. Every like, every comment, every time you subscribe or share, you're not just boosting an algorithm. You're deepening your connection with this sacred space. You're saying to the universe, I'm ready to listen. I'm ready to receive. Your presence is not only felt, it's honored. This channel exists because of seekers like you. Souls who know that astrology isn't just prediction, it's a mirror. A compass. A gentle but powerful guide back to the truth of who you really are. And Libra, trust me when I say you'll want to stay until the very last moment of this reading. What the universe is revealing today goes beyond a financial shift. It's a soul awakening. The kind that heals generations. The kind that rewrites your inner dialogue. The kind that hands you the key to not just abundance, but emotional freedom. So before we begin, tell me in the comments. What led you here today? What synchronicity or whisper or curiosity pulled you toward this moment? Because sometimes, the most divine invitations come wrapped in subtle signs, a song lyric, a scent, a single repeating number. And those who respond are often the ones most ready to receive. Stay with me, beloved Libra. Because as the old wisdom says, those who wait in grace shall walk through doors no force can open except belief. And I believe. You're ready. Sometimes, clarity doesn't arrive like lightning. It comes softly through patterns we've seen before but never questioned. The number 12 is one of those ancient patterns, a quiet reminder that life itself moves in sacred cycles. It marks completion, but not finality. Instead, it offers a gentle pause. A breath. A moment to recalibrate. With 12 months in a year and 12 zodiac signs mapping the celestial sky, it is a symbol of divine rhythm, suggesting that everything has a time, a season, and a place in your unfolding. And on June 12th, this pattern holds special meaning for you, dear Libra. This isn't about superstition, it's about recognition. Recognition that where you are today is part of a much bigger picture, and the universe is now gently nudging you to come back into alignment with your natural balance. You, Libra, are the keeper of harmony. But even the most graceful soul can lose rhythm when the noise of the world grows loud. That's why the appearance of the star card today is not just beautiful, it's profoundly healing. In tarot, the star doesn't shout. It doesn't demand. It simply glows, softly. It shows up after the storm, when you're ready not just to survive, but to begin again. Its message is tender but powerful. Hope is never gone, only resting. The star doesn't promise answers overnight. It promises light. And light is enough to begin walking toward yourself again. When this card appears, it's an invitation to return to the quiet parts of you, the ones that still believe in beauty, even after disappointment. The ones that still want to trust, even after being let down. The star is your spiritual north, not because it tells you where to go, but because it reminds you that you've always known the way. You've just been too tired, too overwhelmed, too kind to others, and too hard on yourself. But this moment, this day, it's a soft return. A recalibration. And it starts within. The colors resonating with your energy today echo this transformation. Soft sky blue opens your throat chakra, encouraging you to speak not just truth, but gentle truth, the kind that nourishes connection instead of slicing through it. It brings ease to conversations that have felt strained. And silver, that luminous, reflective tone, sharpens your intuition, allowing creative ideas to flow like water, and misunderstandings to dissolve with clarity. If you've been holding in thoughts or burying your dreams under some days, today is the day to give them air. You may feel an urge to declutter your space, your mind, your emotions. Maybe you're called to journal, or to light a candle and sit in stillness. Maybe music moves you today more than usual. Follow those impulses. They are not distractions. They are sacred signals that your energy is reattuning to what is true for you. Not what others expect. Not what pleases the crowd. But what feels clean, sincere, and aligned. In moments like this, it's important to remember that you are never being punished when you are called to slow down. You are being prepared. Sometimes the most sacred form of progress looks like stillness. Like sitting with yourself. Like listening instead of rushing. And as one timeless piece of wisdom reminds us, we are not given light so that others may praise us, but so that we may walk without stumbling. You don't need to prove your worth today, Libra. You only need to realign with it. So take this as your gentle cue. Whatever feels heavy, release it. Whatever feels peaceful, follow it. And whatever feels like your soul saying, yes, honor it. This is your time. Not to fix the world, but to come home to yourself. And from there everything else will shift. There are moments in life when what we call coincidence is actually the return of something unfinished, unresolved, or quietly sacred. When a message arrives unexpectedly, when someone from your past resurfaces, or when a truth you've long suspected finds its voice at last, those aren't just events. They're invitations. And today, Libra, you may find yourself in such a moment. A moment where healing doesn't come through effort, but through attention. Through presence. Through your willingness to sit with what returns, not to judge it, but to truly understand it. Unlike others who chase titles, properties, or accolades, your inheritance is different. It's subtle, yet powerful. You were given the gift of harmony, not as a personality trait, but as a tool for transformation. Your true wealth lies not in what you collect, but in how you connect. When you walk into a room and the energy softens, when two people who couldn't speak finally begin to listen, when you say just enough to make someone feel seen, that is your magic. And that is not a small thing. In a world that rewards noise, you offer peace. In a culture that rewards competition, you extend grace. And sometimes, what you heal isn't even yours to carry. It's ancestral. It's collective. It's quiet and invisible, but no less real. The Two of Cups appearing today isn't about romance alone, it's about recognition. Recognition between souls, whether lovers, friends, family, or even the parts of yourself you've neglected. This card whispers of mutual understanding, of meeting without masks. It's a mirror that doesn't distort but reflects your humanity gently back at you. When this card appears, healing doesn't require grand gestures. It just asks for presence. For honesty. For the courage to look someone or even yourself in the eyes and say, I'm here. I see you. I'm listening. You may notice a softening today. A quiet emotional opening. Maybe it's a message that catches you off guard, or a memory that resurfaces with more tenderness than pain. Maybe you're given the opportunity to speak a truth you've been carrying alone, or to hear someone else's truth without needing to fix it. These small moments are sacred. They don't change the past, but they help reframe it. They don't undo hurt, but they allow healing to breathe. This is where your Libra energy shines brightest. Not in controlling outcomes, but in creating space. Space for dialogue, for harmony, for repair. And if you're wondering whether it's worth it, whether opening your heart again is a risk you can take, I'll offer you this. You don't have to rush. You don't have to offer forgiveness you don't feel, or connection that feels forced. But what you can offer is openness. Curiosity. The willingness to meet others not where you wish they were, but where they truly are. As one gentle teaching reminds us, it's not the act of winning an argument that brings peace, it's the willingness to understand before being understood. That wisdom applies not only to our relationships with others, but with ourselves. Can you listen to the parts of you that still ache? Can you welcome the version of you that tried their best with the knowledge they had? Healing doesn't ask you to forget. It simply invites you to return to the space where clarity lives, and grace flows more freely. So if something or someone reaches out today, listen with more than your ears. Respond with more than your words. Allow yourself to be surprised by how much healing can happen when you simply show up, unguarded. And if it feels right, let this be your quiet affirmation. I give myself permission to connect honestly and to heal through understanding, not control. Because in the end, Libra, your presence is the medicine. And today, the world is asking for just that. It's easy to confuse fairness with self-sacrifice, especially when your heart is wired for peace. Libra, you often carry the quiet burden of keeping everyone else in balance, smoothing edges, softening tension, making space for harmony even when it costs you clarity. But real balance, true justice, doesn't come from losing yourself to please others. It begins with honoring your own truth. And today, that truth is calling. This is not the kind of justice that shouts or slams a gavel. It doesn't punish. It doesn't seek revenge. It simply reveals. The energy surrounding you now is less about making others see you and more about you seeing yourself without distortion. When the Queen of Swords appears in a reading, it's a moment to remember, clarity is kindness. Especially to yourself. She doesn't waver, not because she's cold, but because she has learned how costly confusion can be. She has lived through the fog of trying to be all things to all people, and she has chosen to walk instead with clean air, even if that means walking alone sometimes. You are not being asked to harden, Libra. You are being asked to refine. To shed what no longer aligns. To stop pretending you're okay with what quietly unsettles you. And to understand that saying no doesn't mean you're being unkind. It means you're choosing to stand in integrity rather than emotional debt. That's a form of love, too, especially when it's directed inward. The symbols around you today might seem ordinary at first. A broken mirror, perhaps. A watch that stops working. But in moments like these, life often speaks through metaphor. The mirror no longer reflects a version of you that was built around other people's expectations. The timepiece stalling? Maybe it's reminding you that you're no longer bound by artificial timelines, deadlines that push you to perform instead of live. These aren't setbacks. They're subtle instructions to return to the present. To your own inner rhythm. To your truth. Justice is not just an external principle. It's an inner recalibration. And the recalibration happening now is gently guiding you back to center. Back to what feels honest, even if it's uncomfortable. Back to what feels aligned, even if it's unfamiliar. The goal isn't to be understood by everyone. That's not the assignment. The goal is to understand yourself so deeply that you no longer abandon yourself when the room gets loud, or when your boundaries are tested. There's a quiet teaching often shared in moments like this: what you tolerate, you train. And that includes how you treat yourself. If you continually put your needs last, you train your own soul to expect less. But when you begin to prioritize your well-being, your time, your values, you shift everything. Not because you become difficult, but because you become clear. Today, choose clarity. Choose the soft but firm voice inside that says, I matter, too. You don't need to defend it. You don't need to explain it. You only need to act from it. Because when you show up for yourself like that, the world begins to mirror that respect back to you. You don't have to convince anyone of your worth. You simply have to live it. Let this be your gentle reminder: it is not selfish to protect your energy. It is responsible. It is wise. And it is sacred. Even the gentlest souls deserve firm ground to stand on. And today, that ground is yours to claim. Somewhere between giving too much and guarding too tightly, there's a sacred space where real abundance flows. Libra, you've spent so much of your energy making sure everyone around you feels heard, supported, understood, and while that generosity is beautiful, it's important to ask, has your own well-being been part of that equation? true prosperity doesn't come from depletion. It comes from flow. And today, that flow is asking to be restored within you. When we speak of balance for Libra, it's more than a personality trait, it's your divine instrument. It's how you interpret life, how you make decisions, how you move in and out of emotional landscapes. And when that balance is steady, when both your head and your heart are aligned, you become a magnet for all the things you once thought were out of reach. Not because you force them to come, but because your energy becomes unmistakably receptive to them. The Six of Pentacles is your guiding card right now, and it's no coincidence. This card doesn't just speak about charity, it teaches reciprocity. It whispers about the dance between giving and receiving, reminding you that both are forms of love, and both are necessary. Many people find it easier to give than to receive. But giving without boundaries often turns into a form of control or avoidance. And receiving without gratitude can slip into entitlement. The balance is where the magic is. That's the sweet spot you are being asked to return to. You might have been taught by culture, family, or early experience that giving makes you valuable. That to be generous is to be good. But generosity is not the same as overextending. Generosity is the offering of your best self from a place of abundance, not survival. And as one quiet piece of wisdom reminds us, giving that depletes your soul isn't a virtue, it's a warning. Today, you are invited to practice a higher form of generosity, one that includes yourself. One that doesn't exclude your own needs from the equation of worthiness. The law of attraction, often misunderstood as a wish-based system, actually reflects this principle beautifully. You attract what you are ready to hold. Not what you hope for, but what you are energetically open to receive. If you carry beliefs of scarcity, if you believe you're not deserving of rest, of wealth, of kindness, you'll repel the very things you desire. But when you shift into worthiness, when you say, I welcome in what reflects my light, you open the gate. And what comes in will match the frequency of what you've bravely allowed to stay. Today, think of prosperity not just in material terms, but in moments of peace, in relationships that pour back into you, in ideas that spark joy and build momentum. Think of wealth as mornings without anxiety. Conversations that feel nourishing. Decisions that honor your timing. It's all connected. When you allow abundance to circulate through your words, your care, your boundaries, you're not just calling in prosperity. You're becoming it. So if you've been holding your breath, waiting for life to give you permission to feel full again, let today be the gentle nudge. You don't need to prove your worth by emptying yourself. You don't need to apologize for wanting to receive. You simply need to return to the knowing that giving and receiving are both sacred. One does not exist without the other. Let your affirmation be soft but certain. I open my heart to receive abundance as freely as I've shared it. Not as a reward, but as a natural, rightful exchange. Because balance, dear Libra, is not just your strength, it's your path to freedom. After everything you've reflected on so far, the light of hope, the healing of connection, and the strength found in clarity, there comes a moment when the energy you've cultivated begins to shape your reality. Libra, this is that moment. You've been aligning your inner world, tending to your emotional and mental landscape with care, and now the energy is shifting. Not just within you, but around you. It's beginning to magnetize what you've been quietly readying yourself to receive. But to truly activate that abundance, you must remember that balance is not only your nature, it's your access point. The flow of prosperity responds to harmony. When your heart and mind are aligned, when you are no longer split between pleasing others and honoring yourself, your frequency stabilizes. And when it does, the things meant for you arrive with less resistance. The Six of Pentacles reminds us that wealth of any kind is not just something we chase. It's something we exchange. Giving and receiving are two sides of the same coin. And just as you've been taught to give with kindness, it's now time to receive with equal grace. That includes compliments, support, kindness, new opportunities, and yes, financial blessings. Too often, we carry the silent belief that we must earn every good thing through struggle. That unless it's difficult, it's not deserved. But grace doesn't follow that logic. Sometimes, the blessings that find you are not rewards, they are reminders. They reflect the truth of your worth that has always existed, even when you questioned it. And maybe that's why today, abundance doesn't knock loudly. It enters softly, almost humbly. And it waits to see whether your heart is open enough to say, "Yes, I receive this." Not because I'm perfect, but because I am ready. In daily life, this balance between giving and receiving can look so simple, yet it holds deep power. Saying yes when help is offered. Taking rest without guilt. Listening to your limits instead of pushing past them. Being generous not to prove your goodness, but because it feels natural, and allowing others to be generous with you, too. That's not selfish. That's reciprocity. It's what keeps energy moving. It's what keeps your heart full without running dry. As someone who naturally wants to uplift others, you may struggle with feeling like you're too much when you express a need, or not enough when you rest. But this is exactly where the wisdom comes in. Even the most generous garden needs watering. Even the most balanced scale must return to center. Today, your act of growth is to allow space for receiving. Let the people who care for you show up. Let the opportunities unfolding before you land without second-guessing. Let your inner dialogue sound more like encouragement and less like hesitation. And if it helps to root this shift in a deeper truth, remember that you are not here to live in lack. You were not created to feel small so others can shine. You were meant to reflect beauty, truth, and fairness not only for the world, but within yourself. When you share your wisdom, your eye for harmony, your quiet strength, it blesses others. But when you also allow yourself to be nourished, to be supported, to be seen, in return you activate your full radiance. Let this be your gentle reminder that saying yes to what feels aligned is not indulgent, it's responsible. It tells the world, and yourself, that you are committed to showing up as your whole self. And that wholeness? That's where abundance flows, not from scarcity, but from steady, clear, balanced presence. Just like you, Libra. And now, as we come gently to the end of this message, I want to invite you to take a breath, not the kind that keeps you going, but the kind that brings you back. Back to yourself. Back to the quiet knowing you've always carried. Libra, you are not simply a mediator between opposites. You are the harmony that makes both sides whole. You are not here to carry the weight of the world. You are here to remind it how to dance, how to breathe, how to return to balance. Everything you felt throughout this reading, the resonance, the tug in your chest, the quiet moments of, "Yes, that's me," those are not just reflections. They are activations. They're your soul waking up to its role in this exact moment. The guidance that came through today isn't just insight. It's instruction. A call to live differently. To choose peace not just as a reaction, but as a creation. To honor your needs as much as you care for others. To receive as openly as you give. So here's my gentle challenge to you, dear Libra. What would shift if, just for this week, you stopped apologizing for your light? What doors might open if you said no when it hurt to say yes? What kind of peace could you experience if you treated rest as responsibility and not reward? You don't need to answer now. Just let the questions live in your heart. Let them guide your next steps. And ask yourself, what small decision today would bring you closer to balance? Is it speaking up? Saying less? Allowing someone else to show up for you? Maybe it's clearing a corner of your space or taking 10 minutes to journal what you truly feel. Whatever it is, choose it. Gently. Clearly. Because the universe isn't asking you to be someone else. It's asking you to come home to who you already are. Before we part ways, I want to take a moment to say thank you. Truly, thank you for being here, not just watching, but feeling, thinking, being present. Every like, every comment, every time you share or subscribe to this sacred space Zodiac Whisper Tarot deepens our collective frequency. You are not just supporting a channel. You are contributing to a community. A space where healing, growth, and truth are honored. So if this message stirred something in you, even a little, let the universe know. Tap like to reflect your resonance. Subscribe to Zodiac Whisper Tarot so you don't miss the future whispers waiting for you. And leave a comment, even just one sentence. What part of this reading spoke to your heart the most? What clarity are you walking away with today? Or perhaps, share this affirmation in the comments. I allow myself to become a source of balance and abundance. Let it be a declaration, a subtle shift in the energy you hold. Words, after all, carry frequency. And your voice is part of the greater harmony being written right now. You don't have to rush. You don't have to get it perfect. You just have to begin. And sometimes, the smallest beginning unlocks the greatest transformation. So take this as your sign, Libra. You are ready, not someday, not when it's easier, but now. You are already aligned more than you think. Thank you for being part of this moment. And may what you've received today echo forward into all that you choose next. Until we meet again, stay balanced, stay open, and remember, you are not lost, you are returning.